This is a particularly appropriate picture today, I think. Again, if you are here in the Midwest with us, we are looking forward to a couple of days of minus 40 degrees. So I think we can all agree that whatever retirement might look like, hopefully it involves somewhere warmer than 40 below zero. Welcome to the Financial Roadmap series. It's already the 21st of January. We deliver these monthly. So it is always our goal that you learn something and that you walk away with an action item and something of value. So that will be my goal together this morning, and hopefully we're successful in that. So why are we talking about this? I have been in this industry a long time. I've been doing this 30 plus years and been talking about helping people plan for retirement basically from day one. And I think we've made progress for sure. There have been changes over time, but we've still got some work to do. This is from a data source called WorldNet. And according to their pooling, 50% of Americans have less than $10,000 saved for retirement, which indicates a widespread lack of preparedness. Only 42% feel confident about retiring, which maybe highlights some uncertainty and need for planning. And 62% don't have a written retirement plan, which shows the importance of structured planning. So hopefully the message there is if you can identify with anyone or maybe all three of those, you're certainly not alone. And I'm glad that you're here today and hopefully taking one of the first steps toward moving in the right direction. What are the biggest concerns that affect retirees and they worry about when it comes to retirement readiness? And I would say this falls into four categories. Inflation, when you start planning for retirement maybe in your 20s, it's hard to grasp 40, 45 years of work plus another 30 years of retirement, what that can do from a cost of living standpoint. Healthcare costs, when we start to have health issues as we get older, they come with a price tag, and so planning for that. I would say in my personal experience, the number one concern is running out of money. People even that have done a great deal of planning, I think still move into retirement with some anxiety around what if, right? What if I miss something? What if it doesn't work out? And then finally, debt burdens. Not that having debt in retirement is necessarily a bad thing, but again, I will tell you from my personal experience, those retirees that move into retirement debt-free do tend to be a little more lighthearted and a little more comfortable, I think. A lot of what you're going to get today is going to be my own personal experience and just some anecdotal things. So take that for what it's worth, but again, hopefully something of value in there for you. Some of the things that have happened in the industry, I think, over the last 10 or 15 years, again, are moving us in the right direction. One is access to workplace retirement plans, obviously gone on much longer than the last 10 or 15 years, but just the effort around plan design and employer contributions and financial literacy tools. Sessions like this, there's definitely more emphasis in the industry and among employers to try to do what they can to help their employees retire successful. Features like automatic enrollment and auto escalate. Maybe your employer has some of those features. If not the employer, maybe your vendor has the ability to do some of those things on your own. So that's something we definitely encourage you to take a look at. The adoption and surge of Roth savings inside of 401k plans and in IRAs has become much more popular than it was. And that just increases the future of tax-free retirement. If you're under 40 today, odds are fairly high that at least doing part of your contribution as a Roth contribution would benefit you in the long run. So maybe that's something to put on your to-do list to look into. Plan portability, it is easier to pick up your money and take it with you if you change jobs. Again, plan design, I talked about the industry has gotten to be very competitive, so plans are priced favorably. I think employers, again, are always looking at what they can do to help employees retire, and things like qualified default investment alternatives, target date funds, all of those things have helped us move in the right direction. What are some of the most common mistakes I see people make? One is estimated versus actual savings. If you think you know what you spend every month, I'm going to challenge you that you're likely off by several hundred, if not several $1,000s, depending on your income. What we think we spend and what we actually spend are normally two very different numbers. So, moving into retirement with sort of a gut instinct of what you think you're going to spend is a little dangerous because your spending is likely going to be higher than that. So that's one. Again, action item. If you don't know, if you haven't done a budget in a while, dig into your expenses. Year end's a great time to do that. Go back and look at the last 6 months of 2025 and see what you actually spent. And I would say when I started in this business too, we were sort of trained to replace 70 to 80% of your income because your spending may go down. I don't see that as the case so much anymore. I think we are retiring with very active lifestyles in mind, and your spending may not necessarily go down. That failure to account for healthcare expenses. The last time I saw a stat on this, I think the average 65-year-old couple is going to spend somewhere north of 200 grand just on healthcare. So that's a decent chunk of change. Um, that fear of outliving your money can actually prevent you from enjoying the time and money that you do have. And this is the one that is probably, as an advisor, the hardest one for me, is encouraging people to do the things that are important to them while they can. And really trying to instill and build that confidence in them that it's going to be okay. You can take the trip, you can spoil the grandkids, you can do remodel the kitchen, whatever that might be. And then the last thing I would say is insufficient planning prior to electing Social Security. Far too often, we see people just making an election based on, well, people say you should always file early or you should always wait until you're 70, and neither of those things are true. It is a very individualized decision, and your Social Security benefits over your lifetime could be in the neighborhood of 1.5 to $2 million. It's a lot of money. It's a big decision, so it should be made with skill and care. So when you think about retirement, self-reflect here. What comes to mind? Again, my experience. Not many people buy vineyards. Not many people, pick up, relocate, dramatically change their lifestyle. But what they do is they have freedom to do more of what they already liked doing. So if it's you're a craftsman of some kind, or you like to play golf, or you spend time with your family, or you like to travel, odds are fairly high you're going to do more of that. You maybe you'll be the one that goes and buys a vineyard, but I don't know that that has again been my personal experience with reality all that much. If you don't know, it's okay, but start thinking about it. I'm at the age where retirement is probably within 10 years. So I'm starting to have more meaningful just thinking about what I might want it to look like. How do I want to spend my time? What do I want to do? How busy do I want to be? How busy do I not want to be? Starting to think about those kinds of things. It is very personal. I can again tell you that if you have that clear vision, including lifestyle, location, hobbies, personal goals, it will be not only easier for you to plan, but give you more excitement and confidence about transitioning into retirement. If you're thinking about retirement as something you have to do, I would try to turn that on his head a little bit too, and try to think of it as something that you want to do and you have an opportunity to do. Also factoring in those non-financial priorities, your health, your relationships, your purpose, they are all also vital to a successful retirement. And then finally, obviously the financial stuff. You've got to have an inventory of what are you going to spend, what are you going to need, and then what are the resources that you currently have today to support it. What's a successful retirement? I think it is that clear plan for the next future or for the next chapter. And this doesn't have to be a 30-page document. But I think it is hopefully you and the important people in your life sort of know where you're going and what are the things that you want to accomplish. It's some intention around what you want to do in retirement and the confidence, resources, and health to support it, to allow you to do the do. Um, we encourage our clients to think of retirement in three phases because again, we tend to see this. If you think about living 20 or 30 years from your mid 60s on, there's really kind of a very distinct go-go, slow go, and no-go phase of retirement. When you retire is when you're likely to be the most healthy. Your loved ones are likely to be the most healthy. And so my advice, don't wait to do the things that are important to you because I have seen that happen too often to people where tragedy strikes or maybe just health or you just sort of lose your enthusiasm for some of those kinds of things. So we encourage you to think about that. When we're in our late 70s and 80s, we're going to slow down. You're probably not going to be traveling 3 or 4 or 5 times a year, although we all know that sort of rare 80-year-old that is just as vibrant as they were when they were 60. And then finally, you do get to a stage of life where you're just not able to do as much, and that's okay. Knowing that and factoring that in and having a plan for that is also important. And again, I would encourage you. I have teased my children. I will be in charge of what my living situations are like in my 90s. I'm not going to allow my children to make those decisions because I don't think they'd select as nice of a place for me as I want to be in. Okay, so we've got a vision, right? Or at least we've made a commitment. We're going to start thinking about it. We're going to start percolating around it a little bit. So how do you build it? How do you build that financial roadmap? And again, I'm being a little bit redundant here, but I guess it's important enough that I want to reiterate it is what's going to get you out of bed in the morning? What are you going to be excited about? Going from working for 40 or 45 years, many of you on the call work very hard. You're very committed to what you do at work. Making that transition to not having that drive your life or be a driver in your life is a big transition. So you want to make sure you're replacing it with something that you're equally passionate about. Have a good idea of your expenses, your housing, your healthcare, your leisure activities. Honestly, today with all the technology, this is not even that hard to do, guys. Your banks are doing it for you most of the time. If you log into your bank and it'll break down your expenses for you. You might have to reclassify some things, but it will do you for where is the income going to come from? Well, it's going to come from probably your 401k. Maybe you've got an ESOP, maybe you've got a pension, maybe you've got other retirement sources, IRAs. Maybe you've got some pension and then some taxable investments. And what are you worried about? What are your biggest risk factors? Are you worried about inflation? Are you worried about, being as tax efficient as you can be? Or is market volatility what's keeping you up at night? Once you sort of have that inventory of all of those things, those are the answers to all of those questions is the foundation and the basis of a retirement plan. Number one question that I get if you're ever just if talking to a financial advisor is I suppose maybe a little bit like talking to a doctor when you sort of say, hey, would you look at this, tell me what it is. Somebody will say, how much do I need to retire? My answer to that is it depends. I've seen people retire with $200,000. I've seen people retire with $3 million, and they both get it done. Their lifestyles are different, but they are both able to retire successfully. But I'm going to give you some rules of thumb, or just to do some fun math. Now, caveat, an individual plan is always going to be better. But if you want to do some simple math, here's three different ways to do it. One is we call the 25 times rule, and this is basically built off of the 4% withdrawal rate philosophy. So estimate how much annual income you're going to need, subtract any guaranteed income sources like Social Security, and then multiply the remainder by 25. So I'm just going to use easy math here. Let's say you're going to need $100,000 in retirement. Social Security is going to provide 40. That's leaving a gap of 60,000 times 25. That's 1.5 million in retirement plan assets. Another way to calculate it is what we refer to as ratio. So again, current household income. In this example, I'm replacing 80% of it and then multiply that by 25. So same $100,000 income. We're going to replace 80% of that. So our replacement income goal is 80,000 times 25 is now 2 million. And then the third method is recommended savings by age. This is a good one to give yourself a little gut check. If you're 40 years old today, do you have 3 times salary saved already? If you do, you're probably in pretty good shape. If you don't, you might have some catching up to do. So again, doing the math on that same 100, by the time you're 30, you should have about 100,000 saved, 300,000, 6, 8, and a million. Does anybody notice, did we get the same answer with all of these examples? No, we didn't. It's not an exact science. That's why, one, an individual plan is always better. Two, your plan will evolve over time. And napkin math is designed to give you an idea, right? You know, now the good news is we came up with between 1.5 and 2 million in all of our examples. Probably going to get you in the neighborhood of what it's going to take to retire successfully if that's your income goal. So, how do we actually get it done? We can talk about all the things all day long, but until we actually do something, we haven't really moved the needle in any direction. Those of you that are on the call today that are young, start early. Start saving as much as you can, as fast as you can. That power of time and compound interest, there's nothing like it. So the more you can take advantage of that, when your money starts making you money is when it really gets fun to be an investor. And even small contributions over time make a big difference. It's the start of a new year. Maybe you think about increasing your 401k contribution a little bit, or maximizing an IRA if you're able to participate in an IRA, whatever that might be. Make sure you're taking full advantage of your employer's plan. You're maxing out your 401k if you're able. At a minimum, you're taking full advantage of any matching contributions that you may have available. Periodically reviewing your investment options is important. You don't have to watch them every day. In fact, for most people, watching them every day is counterproductive because it's going to give you anxiety and it's likely to push you to a point where you might make decisions at exactly the wrong time. But once a year, sitting down, making sure you understand your investments, you understand your diversification. If you are using one of the default investment alternatives at work, especially like a target date fund, that diversification is already being handled for you. So some of that is managed for you. And then automation and discipline. Um, Consistently saving money, consistently saving more money as you get a raise, as you maybe get a bonus, making sure you're paying yourself first and carving off 10 or 20% of that, having that emergency fund in place, and then just really being disciplined. You have choices, right? You could spend it today, or you can save it and let it grow and compound and spend it later. It's a choice, and you're going to do some of both. But having some intentionality around that will make the retirement planning process much more enjoyable. Financial planning is part of obviously our business. It's part of the service that we provide to participants that are members of our 401k plans, which are some of you on the call. So I want to give you just a little bit of an idea what to expect if you decide to do that with us. You will be connected with one of our financial advisors. We'll want you to get all of your financial documents together, any statements, wills, trusts, tax returns, all of that good stuff. We're happy to meet you where you are, either in person or virtual. We do like to have spouses, significant others involved. We do believe this is a journey both of you should be on and be headed in the same direction. Technology is a beautiful thing. You can now link accounts to the point that it'll do your budget for you and help you figure out where you're spending and again might show you some things that you didn't necessarily expect. We're going to talk about risk. We're going to talk about your behavior characteristics and how you think about money. And then what's important to you. Is it retirement savings? Is it planning for kids' college education? Maybe you want to buy a vacation home, or maybe you're going to go buy that vineyard, whatever it might be. They're really your goals. It's just our job to help you do the math and put the plan in place to get there. Kind of showing you what it looks like at retirement and then what that spending plan looks like over time. We like to think about probabilities of success. This is what's called a Monte Carlo simulation, because we don't know what the market's going to do. We might get a market like we had in the 90s. We might get a market like we had in from 2000 to 2010, where the market was essentially flat for 10 years. So factoring in those probabilities of success, a retirement plan is a living, working, breathing strategy. I would call it really more than a plan because it does evolve over time. If not with us, check out your 401k vendor. This is from Principal and from Empower, a couple of our leading vendors. You can do some of the same things on yourself. You can put in income and your current savings rate and link accounts and do some of those kinds of things and help the system calculate you for you to determine whether you're on track, and if not, what you can do to fix that. If you want to get in touch with us, shoot us an email, go to our website. There's contact us. You can use the QR code. Again, we are more than happy to help you, whether it's just maybe you've just got a question about something simple, happy to help with that. Or if you want to do some more comprehensive planning, we are also here to help you with that as well. So, pick one thing, maybe two, maybe three, if they're not that big, but certainly one, and that's really your commitment to yourself is what can you do to make a difference and move in the right direction? Have you thought about what retirement looks like? Have you and your partner discussed it? Do you know if you have adequate resources to support it? And if not, what are some things that you can do to get that figured out? What is one thing that you can do more of in 2026 to move in the right direction? Please don't overlook beneficiary designations. And again, that simple thing that you can do that I promise you'll never regret is bump that contribution up by 1%. And again, keep in mind that we are here to help. That's what I had for prepared. Otherwise, again, monthly webinars, check them out on the website. If you have suggestions, questions, comments, feedbacks, we love hearing from you. Time is the most valuable resource all of us have, so we want this to be valuable. So if you have suggestions or things that we can do to make it more valuable for you, please don't hesitate to let us know. Thanks, everybody. Stay warm.